Comedy is what takes us away from all the pain and all the hurt and all the turmoil that goes on in life. It takes us away from that, even if only for a brief second, a brief moment. Maybe you would not expect this level of depth from a man who's made a career off of being silly. But as we often say, sometimes you gotta be smart to be stupid. Even 30 years into his comedy career, he was still possessed by a nervous energy before stepping on stage for his 2016 special. So much of what has made Mr. Martin Lawrence so successful is his ability to channel that nervous energy into something great. And more importantly, something funny. But what exactly drives that energy? For Martin Lawrence, it may be the very pain, hurt, and turmoil he's trying to help us escape. Despite his success, Martin's life has been marked by many challenges, from a difficult childhood to high-profile controversies. Yet, it's precisely this journey that has fueled his creativity and informed his unique perspective and allowed him to tell some really funny jokes and make some really funny movies, and make some movies that weren't as funny also. So let us try to understand what makes this man tick and what makes this man make movies. And is he still making good movies? So yeah, what the f*** happened to Martin Lawrence? But to truly understand what the f*** happened to Martin Lawrence, we must begin at the beginning, and the beginning began when he was born on his birthday, 1965, Germany. That's right, Martin Lawrence was born in Germany to a military family. Like all stand-ups, he bombed his very first time and was very discouraged. But luckily for us, he didn't give up and he returned to the stage, where he began to form his signature, raw, edgy, and unapologetic style, which often focused on his experiences growing up in the inner city. Martin Lawrence got the right eyes on him when he appeared on Star Search in 1987. His performance got him a part on 22 episodes of What's Happening Now. After impressing everyone with his first television gig, Mr. Martin Lawrence landed his first feature film in the 1989 Spike Lee joint masterpiece, Do the Right Thing. Martin's energy stands out in this amazing ensemble cast. He plays the character C, and this character C, he is known for his outspoken personality, often providing some hilarious comic relief with his witty one-liners and humorous interaction with other characters. But did he do the right thing? Watch this movie and find out. It's the right thing to do. Do it. In 1990's House Party, Martin Lawrence is part of a group of friends who throw a wild, outrageous, raging party in a house, while all the kids' parents are away, doing, adult things, parent adult things. This leads to chaos and hilarity. Then a year later came House Party 2, where Martin Lawrence's character returns and decides to move the party into a college dorm room, causing so much hilarious mayhem and laughter that is laughed out loud. LOL.
And you know what I'm saying? Yo, think about it. A house party.
In 1991, he did something called Talkin' Dirty After Dark. He co-starred as the character Terry, a comedian performing at a nightclub. This film explores the comedy club scene and the lives of the performers, showcasing Lawrence's raw talent and ability to tackle mature themes. Like, the dude is an actor. And then, in that same year of 1991, Martin Lawrence brought his stand-up comedy to HBO. He then made history as the first host of Def Comedy Jam in 1992, setting the tone for this show that would become a launching pad for numerous black comedians. Martin Lawrence's first time working with his comedy idol Eddie Murphy was on 1992's Boomerang. He played the role of Tyler, an outspoken and charismatic best friend to Eddie Murphy's character. It was good and funny and good. And just when you thought 1992 could not get any better for Martin Lawrence, he would then debut his sitcom, Martin, which aired from 1992 to 1997. It starred Martin Lawrence as the titular character, Martin, a wisecracking and eccentric DJ living in Detroit. This hilarious sitcom, Martin, was a critical and commercial success, running for 5 seasons and establishing Martin Lawrence as a household name. His name was Martin. And the show's impact on 1990s pop culture was very significant, and remains a beloved classic among fans of comedy and nostalgia.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
1994's You So Crazy is a stand-up comedy special that showcases Martin Lawrence's unapologetic and uncompromising hilarious style. This comedy special features Lawrence tackling tough subjects head-on. He would talk about things like the LA riots, police brutality, Rodney King, all of that stuff which just happened a year prior to filming. He gave us all a raw and unfiltered commentary on race, politics, social issues, and anything and everything that popped into his head. Stuff that was way ahead of its time, actually. And this special received an NC-17 rating from the MPAA. Then, Martin Lawrence was allegedly banned from Saturday Night Live after hosting in 1994. His off-script opening monologue included a controversial rant about women's hygiene, which sparked an audience backlash. Martin Lawrence disputes the ban, claiming he simply hasn't received an invitation to return. They didn't ban him, they just haven't ever invited him back.
Some of you are not washing your properly.
At this point in his monologue, Martin begins a commentary on what he considers the decline in standards of feminine hygiene in this country. Although we at Saturday Night Live take no stand on this issue one way or the other, network policy prevents us from rebroadcasting this portion of his remarks.
In 1995, while he was still making Martin and still dropping some epic stand-up comedy specials, he would also bring us a Michael Bay masterpiece, Bad Boys, alongside Mr. Will Smith in this hilarious action comedy that, is Michael Bay's directorial debut. Bad Boys marked a significant milestone in Martin Lawrence's career, as he starred as Detective Marcus Burnett in this high-octane buddy cop thriller comedy action adventure extravaganza that reinvented all of those genres. Despite the studio not exactly being confident in their first-time director and these unproven TV sitcom actors, the film became a massive success, grossing over $140 million worldwide, and cemented Lawrence's status as a leading man in Hollywood. And that Will Smith guy, too. Michael Bay would call Lawrence a, quote, comedy genius. But Mr. Martin Lawrence actually relished the opportunity to not just be funny in Bad Boys, but in his words, quote, whoop some ass. And some ass he did whoop. Look at all of that ass. It's getting whooped. Martin Lawrence, fresh from his success in stand-up, sitcoms, and movies, was on the top of the world with his unique blend of humor and charisma, making him a beloved figure in American entertainment. But as this man reached the highest of highs, his personal life began to unravel, and a series of legal troubles and controversies threatened to bring it all crashing down.
Somebody's in a lot of pain, and you're just going.
You don't know how to help
It ain't
them.
gonna always be like that, Yeah. That's the hardest thing. I think when somebody you love and you have to see them that way.
In 1996, arrest came when Lawrence ran into traffic, toting a gun and shouting, "Fight the establishment," which, despite Martin Lawrence basically being part of the establishment by this point, is still gangster as F. And, that F, it stands for f***. And just like his comedy stylings, this is authentic and unapologetic. And not a good thing to do, children. Don't run around toting a gun shouting, "Fight the establishment." Don't do that.
I was high that day.
That same year, he faced a misdemeanor charge for carrying a loaded gun in a suitcase at Burbank Airport. Don't do that either. 1996 also marked a messy divorce for Mr. Martin Lawrence, with his then wife alleging that he had become unhinged and allegedly made severe violent threats against her and their child. Allegedly. Amid all of this controversy and scandal and difficulty, Martin Lawrence wrote, directed, and starred in A Thin Line Between Love and Hate in 1996. Though not a commercial or critical success, it represented a bold creative risk for Martin Lawrence, showcasing his unique voice and perspective. Lawrence may have been leaning more towards the hate side of that line, a line between love and hate, when he was charged with misdemeanor battery for punching someone in the face at a nightclub. Yeah, the troubles for Martin, they just kept on coming because he was accused of sexual harassment by Tisha Campbell, his Martin co-star, in 1997. The issue was settled out of court. Martin has since called it all bullshit and is adamant it, quote, didn't happen, although Miss Campbell has doubled down on her claims. They since seem to have made up, though, so I don't know what to think anymore. Despite his difficulty in the late 90s from a legal perspective, Martin Lawrence's star continued to rise both creatively and commercially. He reportedly went from being grossly underpaid, $100,000 a year for Martin, to $6 million for 1997's Nothing to Lose, which further established his brand as a premier buddy action comedy guy. And then, in 1999, Lawrence spent 3 days in a coma after collapsing from heat exhaustion while jogging in 100 degrees Fahrenheit. He was trying to lose weight for an upcoming movie role and was wearing heavy clothing and a plastic suit while jogging. He awoke with a new appreciation for life, life itself, not the 1999 movie Life, where he was back with his good old buddy Eddie Murphy. And I think the movie that Martin Lawrence was trying to lose weight for was the 1999 comedy Blue Streak, which is a pretty funny yet forgettable buddy action comedy where he plays a thief posing as a cop. It does what it does, and it is what it is, and that's what it is.
Whoa. Whew. Piece of delivery for robbery, homicide.
He definitely was not trying to lose weight for the movie Big Mama's House, where he plays the role of an FBI agent who goes undercover as a plus-size grandma who's, beautiful and stunning in every single way. This Big Mama's House movie resonated with audiences, grossing $174 million on a $30 million budget. At this time, Martin Lawrence was really popular, really successful. Everybody wanted this funny man in his movie. Yeah, Martin Lawrence, he was probably the most famous Lawrence at that time, even topping out Mr. of Arabia. Then came the year 2001, and with that year came the movie Black Knight. Lawrence plays a theme park employee who's transported back to medieval England, where he literally becomes a Black Knight because he's an African American individual in medieval England. I haven't seen this movie, but I'm sure funny things happen from that scenario, right? By this time, you're watching the movie or you're not watching the movie because of Martin Lawrence. If you like him and his brand of humor, you'll like this kind of stuff. And while he was making all these movies, he was still working on his stand-up comedy, bringing us the comedy special Martin Lawrence Live, Run Tell Dat. Another comedy special that was ahead of its time. Lawrence was in a reflective mood for the show and leaned into his recent experiences to primarily promote religion, forgiveness, and equality. But the ratio of laughs to social commentary is by many accounts unfavorable. Then came 2003's National Security, which features Martin Lawrence's signature energy and physical comedy.
Yeah, my dog. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the Store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
Then Lawrence reprised his role as Detective Marcus Burnett in 2003's Bad Boys 2. That movie from Hot Fuzz. Film portrayals of drug trips are a dime bag a dozen, but rarely are they performed with the excellence of Martin Lawrence, after he accidentally takes a lot of Molly. Oh yeah, and he's really funny, and there's lots of crazy action and, wonderful chemistry with Mr. Will Smith. It's just a bonkers action movie that, is kind of perfect in what it's trying to be. Martin Lawrence was ranked as number 34 on Comedy Central's 100 Greatest Stand-Ups of All Time in 2004, though maybe he would rank higher today. Then he did a movie called Rebound, which is basically a more tamer, more family-friendly version of Bad News Bears. But if you're a fan of that formula, or of Martin Lawrence genuinely showcasing character growth, then there's something for you here. Rebound. He would crawl back into that brave and stunning plus-size fat suit for Big Mama's House 2 in 2006. This one is a little bit more family-friendly than the first one, hoping to appeal to a wider audience. Lawrence went from leaning family-friendly to full-on embracing it with the animated feature Open Season, opposite Ashton Kutcher. It actually wasn't a huge departure for Martin Lawrence. It's still a buddy comedy, but this one's, just for kids. And the buddies are a grizzly bear and a deer. Then he joined the ensemble cast of Wild Hogs. It's a comedy that rode on star power of its seasoned leads, and is actually kind of better than it should be, and made an impressive $250 million at the box office. In 2008, there was something called Welcome Home Roscoe Jenkins. Lawrence plays a talk show host who returns to his hometown. His performance is arguably the lone bright spot in this film that relies too much on slapstick comedy. Slapping those sticks everywhere. Also in 2008, he did a G-rated Disney feature called College Road Trip, opposite That's So Raven. And yeah, this movie's kind of a dud, but it does mark a point in the transition of Lawrence into a more fatherly, protective figure on screen. So that's nice. But yeah, at around this time, it just felt like it had been way too many years since we had a legit, good, funny Martin movie. His comeback, for what it was, came with 2010's Death at a Funeral, followed by his next offering, Big Mamas, Like Father Like Son in 2011, that did not resonate with audiences as much as the first two did in the series of this beloved Big Mama franchise. FX invested one season into Partners in 2014, a legal sitcom featuring Martin and Kelsey Grammer, but it was criticized for its production values and sloppy writing. Another consistent criticism was that Lawrence was underutilized, deferring to Grammer's character too much and too often, not enough Martin. So Martin figured it was time to bring us another stand-up comedy special, and in 2016 he brought us Doin' Time, Uncut. This funny show showcases his return to the stage after a national sold-out tour. Doin' Time Uncut features Lawrence's signature humor, impressions, and insights. He makes you think and he makes you laugh. Then, maybe hoping to earn some art house indie cred, Martin Lawrence worked with Harmony Korine in 2019's The Beach Bum, which unfortunately was more style than substance. Then, in 2020, he brought us the most successful movie of that year, I think? Bad Boys for Life, which they unfortunately wasted that title on the third Bad Boys movie. This new Bad Boys movie, Bad Boys 4, should have been called Bad Boys for Life, and this Bad Boys 3, which is Bad Boys for Life, should have been called Bad Boys 3 or Bad Boys Ride or Die. But yeah, Bad Boys for Life 3 was the first in the series not to be directed by Michael Bay. And it was very well received, actually, earning $426.5 million on a $90 million budget. This movie's success is kind of hard to judge, though, because it came out, when they shut the whole f***ing world down. So if y'all remember, theaters weren't exactly open during this year. So who really knows how Bad Boys 3 would have done in a normal year, but I don't think we're ever gonna have a normal year again! Martin Lawrence was deeply committed to his role in the 2022 crime thriller Mind Cage, gaining significant weight, brave and stunning Big Mama style, and he underwent additional acting training for this rare departure from a comedic role. This soon followed with him receiving his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which was long overdue. Congratulations, Martin. And then, out of nowhere came Bad Boys Ride or Die, which should have been called Bad Boys for Life, but f it. This fourth installment in the beloved franchise is actually, like making money at the box office. It's doing really well. It's showing us that people want some more Martin Lawrence. And they want some more Bad Boys. And they actually don't really give a about the slap. Or that enough time has gone by and, we're ready to be bad again, ready to laugh again, ready to ride or die with Martin and Will and some director who's not Michael Bay. And that's just fine. That's right, Bad Boys Ride or Die is really showing us that Martin, he still got it. And there are a lot of rumors out there that Martin has been struggling with his health lately, but he has recently come out and said that everything is A-okay. And since he's a celebrity, that means he's telling the truth.
I remember he would come by and just sell out the main room, and you would just sit there and watch him murder. I mean murder. Like
I wish
people
I'd seen that.
Falling out of chairs. I mean screaming in agony because they're laughing so hard. And it was, this was 1994. Martin Lawrence was the king, dude. I'm telling you.
With his continued dedication to his work, Martin Lawrence endures, and he ensures that we'll always have a reason to smile, and a reason to laugh, and a reason to think, but mostly laugh, even in the toughest of times. His legacy is secure. And hey, look at this. Here is a relevant Martin Lawrence quote. I think I'll read it right now. This quote, it says, "Keep riding this life till the wheels fall off." So yeah, nobody should give a about what the happened to Martin Lawrence, because he's doing just fine.